President, back on Iran, did you warn Prime Minister Netanyahu against taking some sort of actions that could disrupt the talks there in a phone call last week?
Well, I'd like to be honest. Yes, I did. Next question, please.
Sanctions.
I did, yeah.
If Senate Republicans want to push
It's not a warning. I said I don't think it's appropriate.
What exactly did you tell him? Did you
I just said I don't think it's appropriate. We're having very good discussions with him, and I said I don't think it's appropriate right now. Because if we can settle it with a very strong document, very strong, with inspections and no trust. I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. So no trust. I want it very strong where we can go in with inspectors. We can take whatever we want. We can blow up whatever we want, but nobody getting killed. We can blow up a lab, but nobody's going to be in the lab, as opposed to everybody being in the lab and blowing it up, right? Two ways of doing it. Yeah, I told him this would be inappropriate to do right now because we're very close to a solution. Now, that could change at any moment. Could change with a phone call. But right now, I think they want to make a deal, and if we can make a deal, save a lot of lives.
When do you think a deal could happen on Iran?
On which?
A deal with Iran could happen. When do you
I don't know. I think over the next couple of weeks, if it happens. Yeah.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
On Russia, Mr. President?
Please.
Do you believe the Russians are being disrespectful when they say that your criticisms of Putin are simply an emotional response? And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently. But it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We have Mr. Witkoff is here, who's doing a phenomenal job, is dealing with them very strongly right now. They seem to want to do something, but until the document is signed, I can't tell you. Nobody can. I can say this. I can say this, that I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that. Very, very disappointed. Yeah, please.
You've called for an end to the Gaza war. Given the growing humanitarian crisis and the decision of Prime Minister Netanyahu to extend the military operation, do you have any frustration with his handling of the situation of the war?
No, we're dealing with the whole situation in Gaza. We're getting food to the people of Gaza. It's been a very nasty situation, very nasty fight. October 7th was a very nasty day, the worst that I think I've ever seen. It was a horrible day, and people aren't going to forget that either. So we'll see how that all works out. And Steve, would you want to say a couple of words about Gaza because you just have some information? Steve Witkoff, do you want to come up for a second? You might give them a little bit of information as to what's happening with Gaza and also Israel. We're having some very good talks with Iran. We'll find out whether that means anything, but we're having good talks.
Congratulations. Well, hi everybody. I think that we are on the precipice of sending out a new term sheet that hopefully will be delivered later on today. The President is going to review it, and I have some very good feelings about getting to a long-term resolution, temporary ceasefire, and a long-term resolution, a peaceful resolution of that conflict.
Mr. President, you said
It's having to do with Iran. We're having very good talks with
Mr. President, you said yesterday that Putin is playing with fire. What will be the consequences for Russia if Russia continues?
Well, I'm not going to tell you exactly, but the words speak pretty loud. We're not happy about that situation. I think we're doing very well with Iran. I think we're doing very well with Gaza, but we are doing very well with Iran, and I think we're going to see something very sensible, because there are only two outcomes. You know what the two outcomes is: a smart outcome and there's a violent outcome, and I don't think anybody wants to see the second. But I think we've made a lot of progress, and we'll see. You know, they still have to agree to the final stages of a document, but I think you could be very well surprised what happens there, and it'll be a great thing for them. It could have a great country into the future. Yeah.
President Zelensky says he's ready to sit down with you and Vladimir Putin in Geneva, and it sounds like General Kellogg is working on preparations for that. Are you planning to sit down with the two of them?
Well, I will if it's necessary. You know, it takes. We have to. I think I'm at this point. I wish it would have been that way a couple of months ago, but at this point, we're working on President Putin, and we'll see where we are. I think we're doing fine, but we'll see. I don't like what's happening. That's one thing I'll say. I don't like when I see rockets being shot into cities. That's no good. We're not going to allow it.
You've always said that the war never would have started if you were
Would have never
president.
happened, and it didn't
he doesn't
happen.
seem willing to do anything that you want him to do. Do you still believe that he wouldn't have launched the war?
No. We would have never had a war. We would have never had a war. If I were president, if the election weren't rigged, you wouldn't have had the war. You wouldn't have had the war. You wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had October 7th. That would have never happened because Iran was stone cold broke. They didn't have any money to give to Hamas or Hezbollah. You wouldn't have had that Afghanistan most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. You wouldn't have had any of it. You wouldn't have had inflation because energy costs. Look what happened. I brought inflation down to practically zero. And all of the groceries and all of the eggs and all of the things that you've been hearing about, they're back down. They're way down from where they were. I did something in 4 months that nobody's seen. And I have to say, in 4 months, and I said it before, and everyone's talking about it all over the world, we've got the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. We're the only country anybody's even talking about. All right, please go ahead.
What stopped you from imposing new sanctions on Russia?
Only the fact that if I think I'm close to getting a deal, I don't want to screw it up by doing that. Let me tell you, I'm a lot tougher than the people you're talking about, but you have to know when to use that. If I think it's going to hurt a deal, this isn't my war. This is Biden's war, Zelensky's war, and Putin's war. This isn't Trump's war. I'm only here for one thing, to see if I can end it, to save 5,000 lives a week and a lot of money, the money being much less important, because I made that money. I went to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and UAE, and we brought back $5.1 trillion. So I made that money in about 2 hours, the money that we're talking about, but it's still think of it, $300 billion we've spent with no checks, no balances. They just send cash. You can imagine what's happened to that money. I never saw anything like it in my life, but I'm more interested because I picked up $5.1 trillion and, by the way, got a beautiful, big, magnificent, free airplane for the United States Air Force, okay? Very proud of that, too. They tried to say, oh, it's Trump's airplane. Oh, yeah, sure. It's too big. Frankly, it's too big, much too big.
When can we expect that to be the Air Force One?
Well, it's here already.
Yeah.
It's in the country. It's being refitted for military standard.
How much will it cost to refit it?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever it is, a hell of a lot less than building a new one. We're waiting too long from Boeing. Boeing has got to get its act together. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Headed right back out this door. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
So good luck.
You are so good. Thank you.
Thank you.